Hello, everyone. I am just so excited to share with you and introduce you to more of the contributors of Intuitive Living. We have gone live today. We have launched this book today into the world, and we have already reached number one in Australia in 13 different categories, which is just so exciting. And I'm happy to introduce you to everyone, for everyone to share their involvement in intuitive living, what their hopes are for the book, what their intentions are with the book. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's get everyone to share. So let's start with Ava. I know we've just been on a podcast together just a little moment ago. I'd love to hear a little bit about you and your journey, and a little bit about you and your journey, and then we will do the next question after that.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Crystal. Okay, a little bit about me. Okay, so my name is Eva Rissani. I am originally from Gabon, but I live and work in South Africa. I am an entrepreneur. I am a translator. I'm running my own company. I am also a writer. I am also running a nonprofit organization, a charity that aims at helping teenage mothers to get back on their feet, and that also aims at helping women from all walks of lives to get their life the way they want, and to find hope and get back on their feet. We are looking at empowering them and helping them and inspiring them and motivating them. I went through a lot at a very young age, and that shaped me to become the person I am today. And when you read my chapter, you will get to know me better, and I understand a little bit of what I went through. This has been a blessing for me, being in that big family. So I'm so glad to share this platform with Crystal, Kelly, James. Yay, James is the first time we're on the same platform. Daniel, and all the other co-authors. I am so excited. I don't know if you must stop me, Crystal, because I talk too much. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, you definitely answered the question. Thank you so much. Let's go over to Kelly and just hear a little bit about you, your journey with the book, and yeah.
Hi, well, my name's Kelly Boucher. I'm here on Dja Wurrung country in central Victoria, Australia. So it's been a big day here. Crystal, yourself, and we've been doing this all day, so it's been quite exciting. So this is my second book now with Crystal, and I am in education, mainly early childhood education. And my absolute passion in this world is to nurture and activate thought leadership in the education space. There needs to be more thought leaders in the world, more educators who are confident to claim this status of thought leadership. In doing so, we can empower children, because if teachers are empowered and really, coming from this place of vitality and curiosity in the world, then of course we activate that in children. So yeah, and my story in the book is, I guess it's my snippets of my own story and how I have sort of come to be in this education space, and the processes that I go through in my daily life, and my daily practice through supporting teachers in theirs.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing, Kelly. Let's go to Daniel. Daniel, who are you? What are you doing in the world? And what made you join the book?
Thank you, Crystal. So Yeah, I'm a coach who empowers people to live true to themselves, true to their own intuition, like getting out of the mind, getting into the body, and really, yeah, feeling your way around the world instead of thinking. And I do that mostly with people who want to live their purpose, like who really want to uh, live to what's really true for them inside. And well, the book came around at a time where I was actually in a pretty dark place. I had put my business to a side, and was really anxious and uncomfortable. Like, okay, what's happening? What do I even want to do in the world? And that week, I made a recommitment to myself to really walk this path, to say, okay, whatever is happening right now in my life, I'm going to do this. I'm going to coach again. And I've always been wanting to write a book. And then I said, okay, yeah, I'm actually ready for opportunities to come to me again. And the very next day, you reached out to me, Crystal. Hey, do you want to be in my book? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably a sign. So yeah, let's feel into it for 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah, it's definitely something. So that's when I said yes. Oh, you're on mute, Crystal.
Sorry, I was muted. I was saying, Daniel, this is intuitive living in action, isn't it? When you're getting and listening to the synchronicities that life is giving you and following that guidance. And so on that note, I'd love to go to James, who really you can share it with us, but I love that you are teaching intuition hacks. So go and share a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and why you joined the book.
Thanks, Crystal. Hi, everyone. So my name is James Powell. I'm in the UK, and my intuition was proven accurate and reliable in clinical settings when by 3 child psychologists when I was 10 years old. So my parents took me to child counselling to try to understand me a bit better, which was difficult for them. I think. Okay, cool. Crystal's joining again. So yeah, so they took me to counselling to try to understand me, and I perceived that they were doing something deceptive without telling me, and I was staring at this mirror on the left side on the wall on the left side of the room, and I just felt like I was being watched by from behind this mirror. Oops, I just moved my camera. So I had no reason to think that. That's what I felt, and then after a few minutes of me staring there and refusing to come in the room, then one of the child psychologists came over to me and asked me, do I want to see what's behind the mirror? And I said yes. And then they took me into the room behind the mirror, which was darkened, and there was another child psychologist, a lady with a notepad and pen taking notes, and there were 2 cameramen operating these big old VHS cassette camcorders. This is the early 90s, and they were filming the session through the mirror, and I felt that. So by them telling me and showing me the reality behind the mirror, they confirmed to me that that I can trust my intuition, as well as I can't really trust my parents to raise me, because they don't understand me, they wouldn't take me there otherwise. And so that set me on a path to explore intuition, and I ended up leaving home at age 14 to do that. So I skipped the whole getting conditioned by society thing, and I just went straight into like a lot. I went to the library every day. I used my intuition. I did a lot of training for years. I toured the UK for 6 months with professionals, spiritual professional, by invitation and stuff. And then 2 examples, one professional, one personal, of how I've used intuition, like to the extreme. Personally, back in 2012, I had cancer 3 times, and the oncologist told me, first of all, I went to one of my 6-month checkups 2 months early, because of my intuition. They said if I waited until my appointment, it would be too late to treat me and I would already be dead. And then they said if I don't do chemo in 2 weeks, then I wouldn't have long left to live. But I said no to that, because of my intuition. I traveled abroad and I did alternative healing. I came back at the time of my appointment when they said I would be dead, and they said I don't need to do chemo because I'm already healing. So there's a lot of like intuition is incredible. It's about listening and trusting yourself, your body as well as your mind. And then professionally, I've used it to become #1 for sales nationally for the second largest telecommunications company in the UK. And then also with my podcast, the Spirituality Podcast, interview high achieving entrepreneurs such as Dr. John DeMartini, Sharon Lechter, Darren Jacqueline, who helped grow a company to $1 billion in under 5 years. The first woman to create an iPhone app. So many people, and that's all based on specific intelligence, actionable intelligence I'm able to acquire using intuition as the way to acquire that actionable intelligence. I do feelings as well, but I focus a lot on specifics and being able to use that in an actionable way for specific goals, centered on a purpose. And I'm very grateful to be here with everyone, and Crystal to be part of this book. It's incredible, and it's my first time being a bestseller, so best-selling author. So yeah, really grateful. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, James, for sharing your story. And yes, it's the first time being a bestseller for so many of you, and it's just such a privilege to be able to facilitate that for you. I want to move into what our intentions are for this book. So when I first received that title, Intuitive Living, it really came out of this deep desire to deepen into my own intuition, to really stop externalizing and stop trusting the outside world more than I was trusting myself. And because I'd noticed that whilst I was pretty good with listening to my intuition, there were still moments when I would get sucked out of my center and started doubting my own self and started doubting my inner voice and gave more authority to other people's opinions and voices. And I knew that in order to get to that next level of my evolution and my leadership, I really needed to stop. And each book that I have conceived really had that inquiry for me of what do I want to deepen into? What do I want to surround myself with? What reflections do I want to call into my life? And so I'm just so grateful that 24 incredible thought leaders have answered this call and given me such beautiful reflections on what it means to live an intuitive life by sharing their stories, sharing their tools and their journeys. So I'd love to hear from each of you. What is your intention that you have for the reader when the reader is reading this book? What are you hoping to impart and what are you hoping to inspire in them? And let's start with Ava again.
Thank you, Crystal. When I got that blessing to be part of this book, I asked myself, what do I want to share? What is the message that I would like people to get, And I meditated and I prayed and I used some of the tools that you shared with us. And then it came very clear to me that I needed to stay true to myself, true to my story, and to share something that would allow other people to, make other people to connect, and help them see themselves in me in a way, That would be like a reflection of going through a difficult situation and yet managing to overcome the obstacle. So my intention for the reader is to know that, first of all, we all have a past, but how it influences our present and our future is up to us. Secondly, to know that we all have that divine power inside of us that God gave us, and we can activate it at any time in our life to make things go the way we want them to. And lastly, to know that there is hope. As long as you are alive, there is hope and you can transform your life. This is basically what I want the reader to know. I want the reader to also develop that divine connection with God, because without that, for me, there's nothing else. There's nothing I can do without that connection, and that is it's the essence of the intuitive power for me. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Kelly, let's move to you. What is your intention for our book? What do you hope the reader to gain from it?
I think for me, it's about the small everyday practices that we can cultivate. And I call these micro moments. And it's simply, for me, it's simply about noticing. It's about how we are attending and attuning to the world around us. And that could just be our immediate home, our immediate environment, or our local neighborhood. And what is it that when we slow down and really start deeply noticing the world around us, what is it that calls us into connection? What is it? Why do we notice a particular flower, or the way the trees are swaying, or what are those things that really do call us into connection? And how might we then try to see the world in another way, through a different lens, when we're slowing down and connecting deeply with place? Because essentially place has everything that we need. And in terms of education, with curriculum and ideas, that it's all there. It's all there for us. We just need to perhaps tune into things in a different way in order to activate another kind of curiosity in the world. And essentially, that's the essence of my story. And I think if people really start noticing, like deeply noticing the world, it activates curiosity and it activates a love of place. And for me, and as I explain in the book, that's how I actually trust myself. So I step into radical trust, because I'm tuned in and I'm noticing in a really deep way. And I know I can actually trust myself. So, I would just love people to switch on to being curious, essentially.
It's such a beautiful way of putting it. Becoming curious so that we can trust ourselves more deeply and being able to notice. I really love that perspective. And I want to welcome Christiane, who has joined us now as well. Been waiting there and I didn't see you, so my apologies for that. Why don't you introduce yourself just in a couple of sentences, share where you're from, what you're doing, and you're welcome to go into your intention as well, your intention for the book.
Thank you so much, Crystal. Yeah, it's been a very exciting and touching morning. So I was a few minutes late. My name is Christiane Meyer, and I'm originally from Germany. I do live in Ibiza in Spain at this moment, and I've joined the book after the invitation from Crystal, because for me, really, supporting women and helping them to connect much deeper to their own intuition and to really, really trust themselves. It's like a big part of my work. I'm a love, sex, and relationship coach, and I work mainly with women for the last 5 or more years, to helping them really deeply connect to their womb space, to their sacred center, and with that really reclaim their feminine wisdom, their power, their worth. And my intention for this book is really for more women, and of course also men, to just awaken to that, because we all have this womb space within us that really connects us back to our own selves, and really trusting our own intuition, and to really live from that deep embodied place of empowerment and the divine within ourselves. Yeah.
Apologies. I was just thanking you and saying that I really love the diversity of this group and how everybody comes to intuition from their very own unique way. So let's move over to Daniel and let's hear your intention for the reader when they read this book, your chapter.
The really important thing for me to convey in this book is it's a bit like James said earlier. We are also deeply conditioned by society. Basically, the moment we're born, we just take everything in from the outside, consciously or unconsciously. And so for me personally, an idea formed how I should be at certain points in time, how I should be, especially in order to get what I think I need or what I want. And from that conditioned place, I noticed how I had really lost myself at some point. And I've heard this so many times from friends, from other people, from clients, that they are kind of living a life that looks good from the outside, like they are checking the boxes and they have a good job, they make good money, but then they say, "But I'm kind of unsatisfied. I want to do something completely different than I'm doing right now." And question for me was for a long time, well, how do I get out of this? And can I even have something better? How can I have something better? And the thing that came to me over and over again from different angles was then, well, it is possible, and it was really about following the signs from the outside, for me personally, because that's another interesting thing. It's like many people, when they think about intuition, they think about, well, intuition works this way, right? Or maybe you hear a voice, or maybe, I don't know, you have an impulse to go somewhere. Many different teachers teach very different things. And I just want to convey that there are a lot of different ways how you can receive intuition and how that can show up in your life. And one thing that might sound really great might not be the thing that works for you. So if you hit that place, then please don't be disgruntled or dismayed, because maybe it wasn't the right thing for you. And I hit that place actually in my life when I had been involved in a spiritual tradition for over 2 years that said, you're just gonna feel it. It's just gonna light up your body, and then And I was waiting for that moment, like, when's my full body? Yes. It never really came, and it was only when I discovered human design. That's the system I'm using most at the moment. It was that I noticed, well, that's not actually how it works for me. For me, it's a more gentle process and a more drawn out process. So that can also be the case for people. Like things will come in from the outside. People will maybe mention something, or you might see something on Facebook and you're like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. It can come from all kinds of different ways. And and sometimes clarity might take time. It might take a day, a week, month even, until you can really feel or discern, okay, this is actually the thing for me. So
Daniel, I'm going to bring you back. I love what you're sharing, and you're expanding in all of what you're saying right now in your chapter. So let people read the chapter to find out exactly what that is and what your take on intuition is. I'd love, in one sentence, your intention for the reader. What is that?
It's the hope in knowing that, yes, intuition is for you. It works for everyone.
I love that. Thank you. Let's go to you, James. What is your intention for the reader when they're getting this book in their hands?
Thanks, Crystal. My intention is three things. First of all, to give them examples from my life of how I've used intuition successfully so that they know it's real and possible for them. And second is to give them a clear understanding of intuition and what it is and how it works so that they can eliminate doubt about the process and it makes implementation a lot easier. And then third is to give them an actionable strategy that they can use straight away to start getting results, and primarily making highly successful decisions using intuition, using the information they gather through their intuition to make successful decisions, and to be able to put that into action straight.
Beautiful. Very nice. Thank you. I'm going to ask you each one more question, and there will be some overlap, but you'll each have your own take on it. And that is, what does intuitive living mean to you? How do you incorporate it in your life? Actually, no, just the first one. What does intuitive living mean to you? And while you're thinking, for me, it means to live in total alignment with self. And in order to do that, it means to slow down enough, to let go of enough triggers so that we can hear and listen to the whispers of our inner voice. Who would like to go next?
I'll go.
Yes, Ava.
Ava
and then James. Perfect.
Sorry, James, I was fast.
You were faster.
Thank you for that question, Crystal. Okay, that's a bit difficult to say, but I will just come and say what I have to say. I think that it is, it means that you have to deal with whatever demons, I would say, are still there. Because, you know, we live with many of those. And by demons, I mean all the past hurts that we had, all the past wounds that are still in us, everything that is actually blocking our, you know, our passage into a better life, into a more fulfilled life, if I must say. So living, you know, with our intuition would mean healing emotionally, because I think that everything starts with our heart. And God, for me, is in my heart, and He speaks through my heart. And for me to listen to that voice and to choose, because it's a choice that we have to make. We always have that voice that is telling us, do this, but then somehow we do not hear it all the time, and then we go with something else, you see. So I would say it's learning, making your way, you know, to an extent that you now listen to that voice. And it starts with dealing with your emotional wounds, healing them. It starts with getting rid of all the baggage, the emotional baggage. It starts with working, you know, living, chasing your dreams, and developing that relationship with God. That's what this is for me on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thanks, Ava. Thank you. James.
Yeah, cool. So intuitive living is going through life, making decisions based on intuition, but also using intuition for small decisions as training to make bigger decisions in life. Because a lot of things can be done using data and analysis, numbers and metrics and logic and rational thought. But then always, in every single case, even of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world that you can see on video, all of them saying that they made the most successful decisions always with intuition. It was never data analysis or spreadsheets or pro-con lists. You know, those are for day-to-day operational decisions, and a lot of things can be done with them. But those things that really change the course of your life, like in my case, you know, like I'm alive because of it, and you know, I became number one for sales because of it. You know, those big things, you know, they're always based on intuition, because it often goes against what logic says. But that's because
and I love the examples that you're giving in your chapter about those little decisions. So I encourage everyone, you know, to obviously buy the book and look out for James's tools and tips that he offers in terms of how we can practice our muscle by making those little decisions in life to then trust ourselves to make bigger decisions, losing our intuition as well. Kelly, what does intuitive living mean to you?
I think in its essence, for me, it's about suspending your disbelief. Because our logical mind wants to understand everything, and sometimes we just can't. And by suspending our disbelief, we can dwell in the not knowing. We can unlearn. We can think otherwise, because we are grounded, and we trust, because we're trying to put that disbelief aside just for now, just for a moment, and come back here and just try to linger in the not knowing, because that's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you. Daniel, in a couple of sentences, what does intuitive living mean to you?
So in essence, it's really about making decisions based on what feels true inside of yourself, and not what the mind thinks is true. Yeah, that's really the gist of it.
Beautiful. And if you guys want to make comments, just use the comment box and not the private chat. I saw, Ava, you shared something that I felt was really for everyone. And we've also got a comment here from Mahi, who's asking if we're taking personal questions, but we've been going for quite some time now. So I feel please write your personal question in the comments, and then we'll get back to it and answer it there, so that we don't make this too long. So let's move over to Christiana and hear what your definition is of intuitive living.
Yeah, for me, intuitive living has a lot to do with slowing down and really unlearning of what we've picked up so far on our path, and really starting to go still and to go within and really accessing the body, because I feel like we're living in such a mindy world, and no one really taught us how to do that. So for me, it's really about like going within the body, and really, really connecting from there, because that's where it all lies. That's where all the answers that we're looking for are.
I love that. Thank you so much for all your perspectives on this. And yeah, we're excited. The book is live in Europe now. Go grab your copies. We will post all of the links for Amazon just below. Share your questions, share your comments, leave us a review when you read it. We'll be in the group interacting for the next couple of weeks, or days rather, and we'd love to get your reflections, your aha moments from this book, because that's really when we can have an enriched conversation about what is going on and how we each live in intuition, and when we can act on the intuitive knowing and get reflections from the outside world. That's when it really deepens and we can really put it into practice. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for sharing your wisdom today. And I can't wait for the world to see and read your chapters. There are some incredible, your stories are just so incredible. I've just been so blessed to read them all, and I can't wait for the world to read them as well. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, to those of you listening, and we will see you in the group. Bye for now.